Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. In a recent video, we went over to AxMan Surplus on University Avenue in St. Paul. We did a store tour, we showed off some of their cool stuff that they have, and they sent me home with a couple of these things. What is this, you ask? It's a inflatable, apparently German military surplus buoy or fender of some sort. Apparently AxMan has had these on the shelves for a while and they just aren't selling, so they gave me a couple of them to see, can I come up with some kind of use that will make these fly off the shelf? Well, I'm not sure about that, but we'll see if we can do something with them. Now, they've been calling these a David buoy. You know, I just got that reference. David buoy. Anyway, so we have two of these. This one has some paperwork in it. This actually has an old invoice from the Sportsman's Guide, which is another surplus store that has a little more military surplus, but they also have like hunting, fishing, and camping stuff. So I think AxMan probably got this from Sportsman's Guide as surplus. So it's the circle of weird military surplus. And this says it's a used East German inflatable buoy. I think East were the communists. I don't remember that much of the Cold War. Alright, we've got the buoy itself, and then we've got some kind of rope hardware sling system, a little bit of cable on this, some carabiners and whatnot. This seems like the same material that an inflatable raft is made out of, maybe a little bit thicker, like a higher-end raft, like a Zodiac or something. I don't know what kind of communist quality control is on this thing, so it might not hold air anymore. Well, we found what looks like the fill valve, so I'm not going to inflate this in the garage. I suspect this is going to be pretty big once it's full of air. So we're going to take it outside and put the air compressor on it and see what happens. Well, this definitely has a very distinctive communist smell to it. I'm going with the broken shop vac instead of the air compressor. I think the air compressor would be a little too aggressive with this thing. I'm going to improvise a fill valve here with some PVC and duct tape. And yes, the rest of the shop vac is already made out of duct tape because pretty much everything I own is from a dumpster and has at least some duct tape holding it together. Okay, well that sure is an East German inflatable buoy if I've ever seen one. I don't know what to do with it, but there it is. So this thing is ridiculously large. It's probably about 6 feet long and 5 feet in diameter. It's got these, it seems like some kind of internal structure to hold it in place, kind of maintain this marshmallow shape. Yeah, it's got these patches glued in for this rope, and then we've got this rope here, that big clip on it that I guess you would attach to an anchor, or if you wanted to use this as a fender buoy for a big barge or something, you could hang it off of that harness there. So I haven't noticed any leaks yet. I've got it filled up pretty tight here. There's quite a bit of discoloration here. I don't know if this is like salt water, if it's actually been used, or what that is. No real markings or anything on it that I've found. So what could possibly be more fun than an East German inflatable buoy? How about 2 East German inflatable buoys? That's right, AxMan gave me 2 of these things for double the fun? Question mark? So aside from just generally beautifying my yard, what can I actually do with these things? That's the question. They seem to make decent drums if I knew how to drum. I could kind of see one of these being like a really inconvenient tire swing. I think they would actually work as buoys if I had, you know, a massive boat. What about other water-related uses? We could definitely float something on one of these, but they wouldn't be very stable. If we had 4 of them, we could make some kind of raft or vessel, but I only have the 2, and I think anything we made with 2 of these would just tip over one way or the other. We could possibly do some sort of like urban ninja warrior course where you float these and you want to jump from one to the other. Don't know if we'll actually get around to doing that, but it's an idea. I suppose they could be used as obstacles for some kind of boat racing course. You could try to sail or motor around them. Although if your sailboat was too small, you'd have a wind shadow from these because they're so massive. I guess you could leap off of a boat onto these and launch yourself probably back into the boat and hurt yourself. Yeah, I'm really just ballparking some ideas here. For now, I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do with these. I think the first order of business is to set them aside, see if they actually hold air for 24 hours or if either of them has a slow leak, and then we'll have a little bit of better idea about what they might be useful for. Oh, these things barely fit in the garage. I kind of wish they had like doors or hatches in them somehow. I could get in there and float down the river, or could be some kind of field expedient Mars habitat. Somebody call Cody's lab on that one. Let's see if these held air overnight. Yeah, still holding air just great. I asked my friends for some more ideas on these things, and some of the best ones included a paintball course. That could be pretty fun. I'd need a lot more of them, but we could set these up as obstacles. Holiday decor was a good one. We could paint these to be giant pumpkins, presents, Easter eggs, etc. Really beautify the neighborhood come the holiday season. Someone else suggested jousting platforms. I think I might have said that earlier with the Ninja Warrior course. A bunch of people suggested fill them with helium or hydrogen and make some kind of blimp. I did some math on that, and I know math is not my strong thing. I don't do a lot on this channel, but apparently helium lifts about 1 kilogram, hydrogen lifts about 1.2 kilogram per cubic meter. These things are just over 2 cubic meters. Essentially, if we filled these with hydrogen, each one could only lift about 6 pounds. So yeah, sadly these weigh more like 30 pounds because the scale goes all the way around and then maxes out. I could kind of see one of these being like a really inconvenient tire swing. This is where I find out what breaks first. My half-dead tree over here, or our communist rope. Safety third. I've actually discovered an interesting little medallion here on the rope harness that has some more info on these things, but it's all in East German, so I don't know how to read it. I think it's like the web of Hydra is rated to some amount of communist weight units, and it's for Schwerin? I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to do much Schwerin on this channel or I'll get demonetized. Wait a minute, didn't I build a grappling hook cannon for this sort of thing a couple years ago? Well, I haven't used this thing for a while, but somehow I don't think that's propane coming out anymore. Alright, slight setback with the old propane grappling hook launcher. We may have had a slight, very slight poof no eyebrows incident, or at least poof crispy face incident. We're blowing things up, we're burning off my facial hair. I'm gonna have to disclose when I monetize this that it includes dangerous stunts. This video is getting a little crazier. Looks like I gotta rebuild this thing. That's gonna be a whole nother video, so we're back to just throwing the thing over the tree. All right, we got it. So I still haven't thought of a great use for this thing. It might be fun on a playground or something, and there's probably some terrible game you can play with this in school. I'm not really sure exactly. Oh! I don't know. Oh, it's sitting on the ground, isn't it? This is a bad idea. Whoa. It is surprisingly difficult to get onto that thing. Stuff keeps breaking or bending up in the tree and it just bottoms out every time. Whee! Okay, I want to come down now. All right. If I ever stop spinning, I'm gonna try to get down. All right, well, I think I've made the world's least safe tire swing, so I guess that's an achievement. I guess I could use it as some kind of sports ball tackling dummy. So one thing I might not have pointed out before is these actually have a little rubber flap inside the fill valve, so you can take the cap off and they still hold air. In fact, if you want to let the air out, you gotta jam a stick or something in there to release that little flap. I think it might be more of a hassle to get the air out of this thing than it was to get it in there. Alright, well that took forever, but we finally have that one deflated. That does make me wonder though, how fast could we take these from empty to full? And what could we do with that if we had these inflate really fast? That might have to end up being a part 2 video, because I've spent way too long on this one, way more on the one stupid swing idea than I thought I would. Anyway, stay tuned for next time. We're going to try some other things with this, see if we can get more ridiculous uses out of these inflatable buoys. If you want to buy some of these for yourself for unsafe rope swings or whatever purpose, head on down to AxMan Surplus on University Avenue in St. Paul, Minnesota, and tell them Save It for Parts sent you. They'll definitely sell you some of these things along with a whole bunch of other stuff that you don't know what it is, but you desperately need it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. If this falls right now, I'm going to break my spine.